Well, welcome back, friends, to the Friday, October 22nd edition of our video podcast, as we have established. And I'm with the dynamic duo today. Did you know we have a dynamic duo at Denver United Methodist Church? Reverend Steve Autrey, David Washco. I don't even know why I'm in here. I'm just wasting your time.
Well, you're not like 15 seconds in this, and you've already gotten an eye roll from me, so I'll give you that.
Yeah. Well, it is a pleasure to be with these fine gentlemen today. Welcome to David, and David's going to be preaching at Denver. I'm going to be preaching at Huntersville this week, and our focus for today's conversation is on this older brother that, David, I think we've got to figure out a way to come to grips with who this older brother is in his day and in our day. Tell me what you're thinking about for Sunday for the folks at Denver.
Well, I'm really excited about talking about the older brother because I think he is an essential part of this story that too frequently gets left out. And part of that is because of the title of the story. If you could rewrite this title, what would you rewrite it as?
You know, I've heard people talk about this before, and it's vacillated between the loving father, it's vacillated between a story of grace, a story of acceptance. Steve, what do you think? What would be a better title for this parable?
Well, the story's clearly about the father, so I'll go with the old standby William Barclay, who from a million years ago, who said it should be called the parable of the loving father. The problem is we want to stop the story at verse 24. We want to stop it at the party.
Yeah.
We don't want to see what happens, the drama, the tension, and not only is it drama and tension that comes after the party, it never gets resolved.
You know, Jesus does that oftentimes in his parables. He brings us to a point, and then we are in essence writing the rest of the story. In our experience and in our, from our vantage point, we're writing the rest of the story. You know, when we finished the book of Acts, we said we are writing the rest of the story because Acts just kind of drops things, and we are the evidence that the Holy Spirit was still at work. I think in this story, as we look at the brother, we have to come to grips with the sense that we in the church of today, we are the older brother. We have not ever really been good at accepting this belief and understanding that God can love people outside the community, outside our four walls of our churches, outside of our connections.
Or that God can love people that we clearly see as sinners, reprobates, or people we can, that's a strong word. That's an old-fashioned word in and of its own. But people that we look at and go, you have messed up. And I guess what I'm saying is we have a hard time thinking that God loves people we don't love.
Yeah. I think it's real important for us to point out the fact that both sons' hearts are lost.
Yeah.
Not just the prodigal son that the story's named after, whatever, but both sons' hearts are lost. And I think the disservice of the title being the prodigal son is it captures our attention real quickly because we easily will admit to and say, yeah, I was lost, but guess what? I'm found, so I'm good. I'm in the clear now, right? And then we cut it off. And Jesus doesn't waste words. So if he's bringing in this other character, the older son, there's a reason. And I think he's wanting us to wrestle, not in the moment, but for the rest of our lifetime of not becoming like the older brother.
I think that stinging verse in verse 30, that comment when the older brother says, but when this son of yours came back.
Yeah, not
when
brother.
This son of yours, not when my brother came back, but when this son of yours came back. You can almost sense that hostility, that anger, that resentment. This son of yours, not my brother, not our flesh and blood, but this son of yours.
I could easily sense that because honestly, if I was in his role, I would feel the same way, truthfully. And that's what's scary. I love how you share with me that the story of Samuel and Eli scares a lot of pastors because Samuel heard the voice of God 4 times and did not know who it was, and that's scary. To me, on the same level, this should equate the layperson of, this is scary. I could easily be like this older brother.
So how does that work its way out in today's churches and today's culture of religiosity that we do? How does the older brother work? How is he portrayed in a church like ours today?
Have you ever seen anyone come into your congregation with a Hard Rock T-shirt and a full sleeve tattoo?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it does. I mean, we say we welcome everyone, but if everyone doesn't, we usually welcome those who look like the people who are already there. I remember very clearly early on in my ministry when I was an associate pastor, someone came up to me after the service very upset. And I was brand new in this, and I'm like, well, tell me what's going on. He goes, well, it's just these younger men who are coming here, well, they're wearing jackets, but they're not putting on ties. And I was like, and this guy, he thought that you couldn't come and worship here unless you put on the coat and the tie. I mean, we're talking, of course, that's 25 years ago, but still, they were there. They were in worship with their families, and almost all of them had on a jacket, and yet he couldn't get past the fact that they weren't clothed the way he thought they should be clothed.
So Jesus told this whole parable to the Pharisees and the scribes, the religious insiders. And do you think they would have caught the fact that, in essence, they were the older brothers?
Well,
do we identify as the church today that we have churches filled with older brothers who may not really get the fact that the younger brothers, the ones who have strayed far, who have squandered much, who have wasted a lot, that God can still celebrate when they come to a sense of themselves?
Well, I think the fact that they go on to kill him means that they got it.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's the hard part, is that Jesus did continue to hammer home these points and lessons in so many different parables, and even the one that comes next. It's the idea that God's love is so expansive, it's so inclusive, it offends us who are already here.
So, David, as you get ready for Sunday, and I'm glad the people of Denver are going to hear a good sermon for a change.
I bet they are too.
Yeah, well, there is that.
You've given me 6 weeks to work on it, so it better be good.
It better be decent, or I'll be very judgmental. What do you want them to know or think about leading up to Sunday that will help them prepare their hearts for what you hope God will speak to them?
Well, first and primarily, I want everyone to realize that this is a story about God's unlimited love that's unconditional. Irregardless of whatever we've done, He has unlimited love for us. And that's the primary message I want people to walk away with. And the secondary message is I do want people to stop and ask themselves, in my lifetime, has there been seasons where I've been like this younger son? Are there seasons where I've been like the older brother? How can I prevent myself from living a life of the older brother? And with that, how do I graduate over the long haul to be more like the Father?
Boy, I think that's going to be a good word, and I'll hope to do something similar with the folks at Huntersville on Sunday, helping us realize at times we are like a younger brother, at times we are like an older brother, and yet hopefully we can find a way to relate to the Father's love, because there's so many people out there who desperately need that sense of welcome, hospitality, and you don't have to qualify to come home. Just come home. Let the grace cover you, let the grace welcome you, and let God's love lavish your life. So as we conclude on Sunday, what's going on at that Sunday? Anything special happening that Sunday, October 24th, I think
24th, yeah. Just a quick reminder, we have our Helping Hands golf tournament the next day. And it's a great way to support local ministries in the Denver area. For those of you who didn't know it was happening, it should be a great time. But it's a normal Sunday for us by and large. There'll be, again, our service times for the month of October is 8:15 in the sanctuary, 10:15 at the Arbor and 11:15 back in the Family Life Center.
For the good folks at Huntersville, we will have an 8:30 service indoors. At 10:30, it's going to be outdoors. It'll be our last service outdoors. We're going to be moving back inside starting on October 31st. But know that we're going to have some food available. It's going to be like that hot dog hamburger event we had in September, except this is going to be barbecue. We'll be prepared for you to stay and have lunch, kind of a tailgate experience after the service. That'll be on October 24th after the 10:30 service. Gentlemen, what an honor. Thank you, David, for joining us today. Look forward to, I'm going to watch your sermon.
Good.
And, oh, yay. And also, just to wrap things up, this is the last sermon in this series. Thank you for being a part of the work that has gone into this, and appreciate Charles on this end and the staff of Huntersville, Courtney over on the other side of the lake at Denver, who's been a big part in helping put all these videos together, and just really appreciate it.
What are we going to do next? I don't know what to do with my life now that I won't have
Well,
these
I'll find a way to guide you somehow.
Thanks again for joining us. Thanks to all of those who participate and help out. I hope you're being blessed as much fun as we're having doing these. Take care. See you Sunday.
Thank you.
God bless.